these touch tiles itself. This is that Metro style that they brought into Windows 8 itself. Notice, similar look, different tiles. Right away, this is your new start menu. Meaning, when you're working with Server 2012, you're working with Windows 8, you are using that key that a lot of users don't use, which is that Windows key on your keyboard. That will automatically bring you to this interface. As you start installing features, as you start installing roles within this environment, they're going to be listed and be tile driven on the actual interface. If I were to click Hyper-V Manager, oh, that was touch. Then you have this, the actual Hyper-V interface. There's two different type of applications here that run with Server and Windows 8 that we want to get very familiar with. There are applications designed to launch within themselves, and then there's application or features that need to launch within the desktop itself. So I'm going to have Alex minimize this. Just go to the desktop for me. And just minimize that window. Okay. Your standard desktop. This is where you're going to be spending the majority of the features, especially when working with Server 2012. Okay? Notice that I no longer have, if I hover my mouse over the actual, there's my start. It's not a button, it's an actual tile. It brings me back to that start menu where I can actually go ahead and select which areas I want to work in my infrastructure. So it's not gone, it's just changed. If I go to the lower right-hand corner, by the lower left-hand corner, it's going to give me that tile. And if I were to click on it, it brings me back to all the features within my server. I'm going to go back to the desktop. Not the only way of doing something. Remember, if I hold down the Windows key and I hit R as in run, it's not my run box. I can get to any of my older tools in this newer tools. If you're not comfortable with working in that interface, you can always bring this back up. If I wanted, I can open up a remote desktop. If I wanted to, I could type in bring up network, NCPA. This is going to bring up my network control panel, and I can actually go ahead and configure anything I want there. So it's not gone, it's just the start is different. This is what a lot of users are hesitant to try. Like I told you, when I personally seen it, at first I'm like, I really don't like the tiles. But you get used to them. Then you learn how powerful they are. Okay? So if I go back to Hyper-V, I just want to show one thing. Okay. If I right-click on the Windows 8 Virtual that we're going to be demoing later, and I click on Connect, right? This is, you can actually have Windows 8 virtualized, you can have Server 2012 virtualized, you can have Windows 7 virtualized, you can have your older servers virtualized in Hyper-V. Remember, the disclaimer I'm going to make is the amount that you can have is based off the version of Server 2012. So notice the tiles in Windows 8. They're more geared towards looks and styles for the Metro style menu for the end user. So minimize this and just hit the start button. Okay. Same tiles, just more governed towards the technical audience. Okay. Question?
Yeah, are there features in Server 2012 that you won't have access to if you're not utilizing Windows 8?
More of control. Windows 8 is for the client, and Server 2012 is for the infrastructure technical vendor managing things or giving resources. You don't have to have Windows 8 to have Server 2012. Server 2012, once you actually start deploying Windows 8 in your infrastructure, will help you manage and govern and create policies to protect your actual investment in the operating system or device. Okay? All right, guys. So again, I'm just going to scroll over. Notice, if I need to get to Active Directory, once this is a domain control that's been promoted, I have all of that there. I have a ton of different things here itself. You can also, if you wanted to go in the lower right-hand corner and scroll up, you have the same charm menu that you have in Windows 8. Nothing's changed. If I go to Settings, it shows the settings, right? I can actually shut down the computer if I need to power off. I can get to some of the other options, help, notifications, disable sound, brightness of the screen. Same actual interface that you have in Windows 8. Just governed on it, server operating system itself. So, just the look has changed. A lot of enhancements have been made, but it is still a server operating system. Once you start installing rows like Hyper-V, you will get that tile. It's not something you're going to create yourself. The tile is automatically generated. If you wanted, you could rearrange these in any fashion or order you wanted by dragging and dropping. But again, once you install the roll itself, it's actually there. And we actually have, I'm just going to have Alex go to Windows deployment. Surface. Notice, because it is not a Metro-style app, it launches back where? In the desktop. Had this been a special program or customized menu or Symantec design, let's say you use Symantec for security, it might be catered to Server 2012 where it has its own little interface. That when you launch it, it's a full screen and all you see is a Metro-style application. Because this is not a Metro-style special application or an application from Microsoft Store, you actually launch this when you click on it in the actual thing. This is what I was referring to earlier. For those that are looking to